everybody. I'm Laurie Hernandez, and this is One Creative Mind. She's a critically acclaimed singer-songwriter and multi-instrumentalist who has been praised by Rolling Stone as an artist you need to know. Her musical style is not easily categorized. A rich blend of country, folk, pop, rock, and electronic, she's described it as retro majestic, and her creative process is just as complex and fascinating. Singer-songwriter Laney Jones' latest album, Stories Up High, explores her own spiritual and mental health journey through the power of song. She's here to perform a special track from it today, and we are so lucky to have her. So Laney, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Laurie.
This is so exciting. Viewers, feel free to post questions or comments in the chat section at any time. And if you know anyone who can benefit from the information in today's webcast, please share this video with them. So, Laney, Stories Up High was many years in the making. What inspired you to share these thoughts and feelings now with this album?
Yeah, well, I think I've said this a lot before that I think writers write what they need to hear. And for me, I was on this journey of sort of healing from past insecurities in life. Just there's sort of so many wounds that happen throughout your life that you kind of just push through and you don't actually stop and deal with it. And for me, I was kind of in a transition period where I had moved to Nashville and kind of found myself, I stopped touring for a little bit just to save up money. I knew for my own personal self, it's a lot of energy to put a record out in the world. It costs a lot of money. I mean, there's like a lot of gas that goes into this trying. So for me, I really wanted to make sure that if I was going to keep being a musician, I wanted to put out something that really said something that was important to me. And that required for me to stop and kind of ground myself. And with that, I healed myself in the process. And that's kind of the reflection of the record as well.
Oh, I love that so much. As it's not the same, but I do a lot of fiction writing. And sometimes when I get writer's block, I'll just kind of word vomit onto the page. And everything that comes out usually reflects something that I'm going through at the moment and is really healing to let that just come right out of you creatively. So that's really exciting. Thanks for sharing that.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting the way you've described writing the songs for this album as inhabiting a place between memory and imagination and being kind of in a flow state, which reminds me of the movie Soul. Love that. It's oof. Can you elaborate on that? And is that typically the way that you compose?
Absolutely. I always feel like when writing, I feel like really writing anything. There's the quote from, I'm spacing on who it was from, but there's a quote that, write drunk and edit sober. And I really,
yes,
yes, exactly. So I really feel like it comes from that flow state is kind of like a drunken state in the sense of I'm not judging anything and it just comes out. And I really think it almost doesn't come from me. It feels like it's like a computer in a way where it's like we have all these things that we've transferred and have consumed in our life. And then, like you said, it's word vomiting out. And I'm not necessarily framing any of that. It feels right in the moment. You're like riding this wave of inspiration and spirituality through the music that I would say, yes, I go back and look at it sometimes and I'll find the story afterwards. But then in the moment, it's just, I'm riding the ride of it. And some songs too, like a couple of these songs on this record really just came out. I really had no control over the story or anything. That's kind of mostly how I write, is that I might, like as soon as I start singing the words that end up sticking, I find the story instantly. I know internally what it is. And so that's really why I feel like for my own self, I can't necessarily take ownership of it, or it's just riding the wave.
Yeah, I also love this idea of not judging the thoughts and feelings that are coming out during the creative process, because we tend to do that day to day, moment to moment. When something comes up, it's like, I don't have time for this right now. You stuff it right back down, and then usually we as adorable little humans forget to talk about it unless it comes up in therapy or we're journaling, or it just doesn't at all. So I love that, that idea of like, I'm just letting things be the way that they are. I'm seeing what comes out, and I love it no matter what. So
Yeah, well, yeah, it's a way of too. It's like free form writing. Sometimes you have to get through all of that stuff to get to the actual real nugget. It's just like digging.
Yeah.
You're just digging for a piece of gold.
Yeah. Sounds like therapy. That's
Yeah,
usually what happens
exactly.
in therapy for
Totally.
me. I will end up talking for the first 30 minutes of the session, just nonsense and very surface level. And then that last 15 minutes gets into the nitty gritty. And I'm like, oh no, I've just wasted time. It's never a waste of time, but it sure feels like that. So gotta love it. You've talked about how songwriting has always been a cathartic process for you. Stories Up High was also an illuminating experience of self-realization, it seems. So what did you discover about yourself and your art during your creation?
Yeah, well, I really felt I'm the youngest of my family. And I also come from a lot of half siblings. So I've seen them all kind of live their each different lives. We're all very different. And for me, I feel like I've gotten to learn through each of those experiences. I also grew up doing theater. So I've always been a person of following different stories and putting on these different hats to learn from another person's life. And for me, I think this was me looking really into my own life and seeing, what are my flaws? Like, what's going on in here with my own self? And for my own self, my biggest weakness, and I think I really get this from my mom, is just a lack of self-confidence and self-love. And that was basically really my biggest journey throughout this all. I mean, and they always say, you can't really truly love someone without loving yourself. And I'm starting to actually see that so much more these days. I'm so in love with life now because I'm not constantly measuring myself up to some sort of standard or expectation in my mind of who I am. I'm just allowing myself to be like, and that's what every creature on this earth wants, is just to be.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, from my own personal experience with anxiety and depression, and I've been in the state of mind of like, this is just getting a little too tough. This is, and you start to question everything. It is so delightful to hear you say, I just want to live. I want to be, I want to enjoy things. And like, that's exciting. That's wonderful. And I think for everybody listening, it is important to hear that. And that is the way that life should be. So heck yeah.
Yeah.
The song that you are going to do for us today is Long Way. It's very retrospective, like looking into a photo album with faded edges. What is the song about?
Yeah. So this was a song that kind of came right out. It's about not giving up, I believe, on yourself. And that life is really a journey. I've once heard old age is not for the faint of heart. And I think that is so true, that the older you get, the more you have experienced, the more little cuts and hurts and pains that you experienced along the way. And I find that there's so many people, especially as you get older, middle of your life and things, that they feel like they kind of give up on their dreams or their self in some ways. But at one of the lyrics in the song is like, if you're alive, then kid, you are young. Shake like a fever, So I'm just like, yeah, if you're alive, you're still kicking it. Go after it, be a fearless newbie. Just go in hardcore. Why not?
I love that so much. Would you like to play Long Way for us now?
Yeah, sure. I've never actually played it acoustic, so I'm pumped to see how this goes.
Woohoo, we're in for a treat.
All right. All right. Woo. Does this sound good in there?
It sounds perfect.
All right, cool. I'm just gonna tune this up real quick, make sure. All right. One day when the mountains shook, your mama cried, and there you stood. Long way, long way, long way, long way, looking back in the picture book. So now you're here, grown and tall, but in the darkness you still feel small. Long way, long way, long way, long way to the light if you gotta crawl. Someday, yeah, gonna fall down to the bottom with the rest of us all. And if you're alive, then kid, you and your home, shake like a fever and give it all you got till you're gone. Wise man said you better watch your step, among the words that you say in your head. Long way, long way, long way, long way, you get fat on what you fed. And are you scared to give it up? And are you frightened that you're not enough? And are you satisfied with the wine in your cup? Or is it another cheap little rush? Someday, yeah, you're gonna fall down to the bottom with the rest of us all. And if you're alive, then kid, you and your home, shake like a fever and give it all you got till you're gone.
Woohoo! That was so good. Oh wow, lady, that was beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Oh, thank you. It was so funny. My bass player stayed over the night because we were hanging out, watching a movie as a band, and he came. I'm in my studio right now, so he like came in midway song. I was like, get out of here, man.
Oh, I love that. Life over Zoom. It's too wonderful to ignore. You gotta love it.
It's beautiful. Where are you at right now, Laurie?
I'm actually currently in Maine. I live in New York, but I'm on a bit of a road trip right now, so I've made a small pit stop.
Nice. Are you like on vacation or just doing some work vacation?
Technically, it's a vacation for me. My partner's here for work for photography, but I am tagging along and drinking coffee and bought 2 adorable little mugs that you can't find anywhere else. You gotta love the small cities,
mugs.
right?
Yeah.
I love mugs. Oh God, they're so cute. It's really small. Yeah. Such a mug. I am a mug hoarder. Look at you. You know what? I'm gonna mute myself. You have to see this mug. You're gonna love it.
I got it. I'm pumped. No, I've been a mug hoarder too lately. It's I feel like Instagram really has got me down on the whole excellent potters these days. There's always these cool people out there.
There's so many incredibly talented people out there. Okay, so this was the first one. They had like a coffee shop.
Ooh,
and
what's it say on that?
It says Portland Pottery, Maine, and there's a man who I recognized in the front. this is the guy who makes all the pottery mugs and bowls and stuff like that. So it's
Oh,
adorable. There's that one. And then there's this one. And I like it because it's imperfect, and things that are imperfect are very special to me. And none of the other ones look like it. It's got like these little curvy edges on top. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I love things that can't be recreated. And even if they are recreated, they're never the same. You gotta love it, you know?
Yeah. Have you heard of the concept of Kinsuji? I think I'm saying that right.
No,
Oh, dude, you're
tell
gonna
me everything.
yeah, no, it's that I think it's in Japanese culture, a sort of way like philosophy, but it's actually specifically with pottery though. So it's the idea of that when you break, instead of just like throwing it away, they put
You
it
put the
back
gold.
together with the gold and silver. And so it's more beautiful because it's been
It's
through
got
an
gold in it.
experience. Yeah. And the imperfection is actually the beauty of it.
Yeah. Oh, I love that so much. That, this is a perfect segue into our last question, which is, the last few years have been quite the bumpy ride mentally and emotionally for all of us. So, what do you do to take care of your mental health for those listening?
Yeah, well, I did seek actual help for anxiety and depression stuff. So it's just like, oh, it's okay to like go out there and just get help, talk to someone, get on medication if it's right for you. There's nothing wrong with it. I feel like I come from a family that didn't really be proactive about those things. And not that there is a stigma or whatever, but like even to certain professions, there's a stigma about getting help. And if you need it, it's just it's your own life. It's
It's why
why
it's
not
there.
enjoy it and take care of yourself. So that's a big thing that has totally shifted my life. But also just consuming positive things, positive messages, reading books that have been sort of self-help, but have been like really just valuable in my overall mental health, and listening to podcasts such as this one that just bring you up and make you realize that there's so many good things out in the world and there's no reason to feel self-conscious. I feel like we all are self-conscious and all have anxiety. It's nothing new. That's why people drink, it's legal just so we can relax. But the thing is, it's like if you put on the perspective that we're all going through this together, then it's just like, okay, there's no reason to be afraid of each other. Or I don't know. I guess I view it more, I think it's more about connecting with other people. It's kind of realizing that we all have one mind per se, that it's like you are me and I am you. And
Yeah.
we're all, yeah, there's nothing to, I think the further we try to distance ourselves and try to, I don't know, separate ourselves as, well, I'm this person, this kind of person, and I believe in this political belief, or I this religious belief. You kind of are trying to separate yourself, and for some people, that's to make them feel better, but it's also and to find a community, which is great, but at the same time too, I think it's important to realize that we're all in the same community and to look after each other.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get that. I think throughout the pandemic, there's also this anxiousness of being perceived. We're all in our houses, we're all cooped up, and then we all finally get to go outside, and it's like, oh, would you look at that? I'm being looked at. And
Yeah.
we've kind of forgotten how human connection works when it's in person. And so I totally get and resonate with everything you've just said. I'm going to throw in one more question. It's going to be, what gives you hope? That feels right.
Okay. What gives me hope? I mean, I think so. This sounds kind of goofy, but every day or almost every day, I walk outside. I have a dog, and so I let him out to go outside, and I say, "Good morning, world," out outside, and I think to me, it's just seeing how nature just keeps going on. It keeps blooming. It'll die and then come back again. And I think it gives me hope with new generations that will keep growing and keep being better, hopefully, and learning as a species. That would be great. I don't know. I think just being out in nature gives me the most hope that we all come from it and are a part of it. And that's just truly the ultimate form of love, is just enjoying the great outdoors.
Acceptance of community and of being a part of nature, because that is what we are. I love that. Laney, thank you so much for your beautiful song and for sharing your artistry with us today and your mind. This was delightful.
Oh, you're awesome, Laurie. Thank you so much for having me. You're so freaking talented. So it's been an honor to like just talk to you and be on the podcast. This is so cool.
Thank you so much. And viewers, thank you too. Now for a quick look at one of the many mental health apps on the market. I spoke earlier with our team at One Mind Cyber Guide. Hey there! Joining me now is Dr. Stephen Schuler, the Executive Director of One Mind Cyber Guide. Stephen, there are so many mental health apps on the market, thousands. Thanks for being here to give us some information and guidance about one of them today, Dalio.
Happy to chat.
So, what is mood tracking?
So mood tracking refers to paying attention to how you feel over time to be able to gain some insights into what are patterns in your mood and what might be triggers that move you in positive or negative directions. What kind of boosts your mood or what gets you down at different times.
How might mood tracking be helpful for people seeking to improve their mental well-being?
Well, I think one way that mood tracking is useful is it helps you determine of whether what you're doing is actually working. I say all the time that if it's not measured, it doesn't matter. And so if you're not paying attention to how you're feeling over time, it's hard to really understand if you're getting better. It can also help you, as I said earlier, really identify different triggers that might either push your mood up or down.
Dalio allows you to track activities and what you did as well as mood. How does this work?
So you can add a tag of something that you did when you're feeling a specific mood, maybe a workout that you had or spending some time with a friend. And then over time, you can reflect and see what were the things that kind of moved you in a positive direction. So you might see that, every day that you work out, your mood tends to be higher on those days, or spending time with a friend actually really boosted your mood and was the highlight of your week. So it helps you find those different things that you might be able to sprinkle more into your life, or the things that unfortunately you have to take more out of your life to be able to be in your best mental space.
Can you even add notes and photos?
You can, and I think the photos is really cool because it's an opportunity to really capture sometimes those things that went really well. You can also, although this is a mood tracking app, think about allowing it to track or journal other things like gratitude or positive things that go on in your life. So it's a very flexible app, even though it's focused on mood tracking.
I love that. With all apps, and specifically Dalio, what are some of the benefits of being able to see trends and progress over time?
I think it can be really heartening for people to see that they're moving in a positive direction. And this is something we've heard talking to users of mood tracking apps generally, and Dalio specifically, is that the positive benefits and the positive trends are really motivational for them to keep going on things. It's really beneficial to see gains to keep on the track that we're on. And so Dalio can help facilitate that in our lives.
Anything else that you would like viewers to know about Dalio?
I'll say Dalio is one of the favorite apps of our team. It allows you to really customize the app, so you can go in and change the words, the emojis, or the icons that you use to represent your mood. So, it might start out as saying that your mood is good, but you can change it into super or fantastic, or whatever words you use to really capture and describe how you feel. And we find that having it personalized is one way to get a lot of real benefits out of using an app like this.
Finally, what's the cost?
So Dalio has a free version, and it gives access to the core features like mood tracking. You can get a premium version that has more features like unlimited moods, infinite reminders, advanced statistics, ability to export the data. And that premium version is a monthly fee of $2.99 or an annual fee of $23.99. But we really find a lot of the benefits of the app can really be used with that free version.
The Cyber Guide website is a great online resource to find out all about the many mental health apps on the market. How do you rate each app? What is the criteria?
So we use 3 criteria to evaluate apps because we don't think that there's one app that works for everyone, and there's no one metric to determine what the best app is. So we look at credibility, the evidence supporting an app. We look at user experience. Is it easy to learn and easy to use? And we look at transparency around data security and privacy practices. Do they share the information about what happens to your data when it enters into that app? And Dalio scores fairly well on these metrics for us. It's a 3.67 out of 5 on our credibility, a 4.14 out of 5 on user experience, and is questionable on the data security and privacy practices because it needs some more information about what happens with that app, the data when it's shared in that application.
Thank you so much, Stephen, for sharing. And viewers, thank you too. For more details and information, visit onemindcyberguide.org. Bye, everyone. Have a great day.
I'm living my best life.